It's so great to meet you. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Congratulations on the film. I was riveted from beginning to end. And kind of ironic today that we're speaking because of space travel today, as civilians going to space. How weird is that?
Yeah, it's great advertising. We got a great PR team.
Yeah, we got to get Jeff Bezos to put your film on all of his
Yeah,
Amazon packages. I think that would be perfect, right?
yeah, yeah.
Listen, this was, like I said, so riveting. I wanted to know what the origins were. What made you think of this story? Was there something that inspired you?
Yeah, it actually started from a feeling, just a gut level feeling. I was in the woods with my dad and it was snowing. And when it snows heavily, it can absorb all the ambient noise uh, to the point where it's quiet in a way we almost never hear.
Right.
And there was something very eerie about that. And I just remember looking over and imagining being watched from the tree line by some unseen person. And then looking up ahead at my dad in his old coat, walking up ahead of me and imagining a guy patrolling the outskirts of his farm and started to
Wow.
think about what he was guarding against. And by the time we got inside, I had had basically the plot, at least up to when about the midpoint. I won't say the
Yeah.
specific,
We
but
don't want to give anything away because that's
yeah,
what I
yeah,
love the most about this film. But yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
And but it wasn't until actually I was working on something else at the time, so I actually shelved it. I just remember thinking, wow, that is dark. And it really hit me at that gut level, as I said. And but it was only when I then later had the thought about setting it on Mars as it may be one day when we're in the process of terraforming it, changing it to be habitable,
Yeah.
that I thought, well, hey, this could be a feature. This really feels worthwhile because it just unlocked all this thematic and visual richness that wasn't there when it was just more of a story.
Yeah. And then, of course, you're dealing with a very major players. And I'm wondering for you, when you were writing this, did you have any of them in mind?
So I you broke up at the beginning of the question. Can you just repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, of course. So no problem. I'm just wondering with you only have four actors, like major players in this film. I'm wondering when you wrote it, like, did you have any of them in mind as you were writing?
So it's funny you asked that. So my wife and I, so she's one of the producers on the film, and at the beginning, so once I'd finished the script or it got to a point where I felt like, okay, I'm ready to share this. We, but it really was just the two of us at this point and the script. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to find a kid like Brooklyn Prince? um,
There's
and
not a lot out there, I can tell you
there
that.
really there really aren't. But wouldn't that
Yeah,
be amazing? And
yeah.
then out of the blue, actually, it was an agent called us who'd gotten a hold of the script because we had just kind of sent it as far and wide as we could to anyone who knew anyone, and he called up and said, who you imagine for this? I really like this. Well, let's and I said Brooklyn Prince, and sure enough, she was a client of theirs,
Wow.
and they sent her the script, and she and her parents really thrilled to it. I think they saw it as a different challenge than she had taken on yet, and just in terms of its subject matter uh, and the range that was, and so yeah, they signed on, and that really is what got this off the ground in the first place, and stuck with us through thick and thin. I gotta say, so.
Oh, she's amazing. Look, I interviewed her for the Florida Project when she was, yay high. And even then I
Really,
was like, man, this girl, she's so impressive and she just keeps getting better and better. And yes, her family keeps her quite grounded because she's a decent kid, I have to say, and so talented. But man, she really has to carry this film. It's quite extraordinary to watch what she does and her range of emotions in this film. You must have been blown away.
blown away. I mean, actually, there were moments where no one spoke to each other for like an hour after some of the scenes because we were just all so kind of emotional after what she had done,
Yeah.
and the dark places that she had to go, and she's not. acting, she really does convince herself of, that she's living these realities, and she is just remarkable. She is an absolute force.
Yeah, she's going to go a long way, that girl. There's no question about it. I want to ask you also about Ismael Cruz, Cordova. This guy, every time I see him in something, whether it was The Undoing or like in this film, he comes initially. I don't want to say too much about his character because I don't want to give it away. But initially, you think he's the villain, whatever. But something about him is trustable. You know what I mean? So in this film, do we trust him? Do we not trust him? It's, he makes it work. What was it about him that you saw?
About Ismael, or about the character?
Yeah, about Ismael. Yeah, casting him.
I mean, he's just so electric. I mean, actually similar to Brooklyn, like you can't take your eyes off him.
Yeah.
Right. And he just, when he arrived on set, we'd been shooting most of the family scenes prior to his arrival, and just the whole just like feeling on set change. He just brought this whole other energy, which was very exciting. In some ways it's kind of destabilizing. It had been this little kind of family film and largely wholesome, and then here he comes and embodying this outside force, this sort of threat, but at the same time one that is eminently convinced of his rightful claim to things, and the rightness of his actions, unseemly as they may be, that he's just trying to do the right thing, I think, in his mind. I think we are all capable of convincing ourselves of what we want, but he has got a very interesting method. He likes to do multiple takes at once without cutting, and give you options. And just will give you variations on the character there, and that was a really fun process to work with. He's just so talented that I was really able to trust him to make these choices, and I think feeling that trust, as he later told me, that he really felt like he could inhabit the character in a very free way.
Yeah. It's really all ultimately about trust, survival of the fittest. Like if you're in this kind of a situation, and how do you survive? Like basically, you'll do anything to stay alive, to survive. Do you feel like that? Sometimes not good either, right?
I mean, I want people to come out of this and wonder, what would I have done in that situation?
Yeah.
I just, that for me is really where the value of this, why this is worth an hour and change of people's time. That, these are people who are forced to reckon with choices that they wouldn't consider in a million years, but given that the desperate circumstances they're in, they just how they have to decide how far am I willing to go or not go to protect my loved ones and survive.
Yeah, it's quite, it really does make you think. I know we only have a couple seconds up to wrap up, but what's next? I know obviously we're all coming out of this pandemic slowly but surely. Have the wheel started turning? What's next for you?
Yeah, well, I'm writing right now about the man who killed Rasputin, and it follows his actions on the night of, and it's completely different to Settlers, but I would actually say similar in that it really is about people, again, trying, who are considering things that they wouldn't in a million years consider, and given just the extremity of the circumstances, things that would usually be dismissed out of hand or seem absurd are entertained. And I find it
fascinating. Oh, that's really cool. Well, listen, congratulations on Settlers. I really did enjoy it. It was really well done. And thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. This is really fun.
Yeah, have a great day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Recording.